Hello, welcome to my channel, Fandom Facts. Today our topic is how women respond to consistency in romance. So let's start. This is not a love story. It's a survival story. This is not a love story. It is a survival story. And if that sentence made your chest tighten just a little, then this story is already speaking to you. This is for the women who didn't just fall in love but fell through broken promises, mixed signals, and silence that hurt louder than words. This is for the women who learned to stay alert instead of soft, who learned to read tone instead of trust, and who learned that disappointment doesn't always come with warning signs. It comes quietly, wearing hope like a disguise. You didn't become guarded because you wanted to, you became guarded because you had to, because love kept showing up inconsistent, unpredictable, and unfinished. So you adapted, you survived, you kept going even when your heart was tired. And then one day something unfamiliar appears, not fireworks, not chaos, not emotional whiplash, but something steadier. Something almost uncomfortable. Consistency. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't rush. It doesn't disappear. It shows up again and again the same way, with no performance, no manipulation, no games. And that's when things get dangerous, because consistency is rare. And for a woman who has been disappointed, it is powerful enough to change how she thinks, how she loves, and how she protects herself. Consistency doesn't just feel good. It rewires survival instincts. It challenges the armor you build. It asks you to stop bracing for impact, and that feels risky because hope once cost you everything. This story is about that moment, the moment when a woman realizes that stability can be seductive, that reliability can be romantic, and that someone staying might be scarier than someone leaving. This story will show you why consistency isn't boring, it's transformational, why it makes women fall deeper, not faster, and why it holds the power to heal or expose everything she buried to survive. And if you've ever wondered why consistency feels different, why it hits deeper than charm, and why it changes everything, then don't go anywhere, because what comes next might explain more about your heart than you. Ready to admit the woman before love, built by struggle, not softness. Before love ever found her, she had already learned how to survive, and survival did not make her soft, it made her sharp. She was built by long nights of figuring things out alone, by promises that sounded real until they weren't, and by people who said they would stay but slowly faded without explanation. She did not grow up expecting to be rescued. She grew up expecting to adapt. Her strength did not come from confidence, it came from necessity. And that kind of strength leaves marks you cannot see, but you can feel in how she moves through the world. She learned to build emotional armor early, not because she didn't feel deeply, but because feeling deeply without safety was dangerous. Her heart stayed open just enough to function, but never enough to fall apart again. Trust was not something she gave freely. It had to be earned slowly, and even then, it was always under review. She listened closely to patterns, not words. She watched actions more than intentions. And when something felt too good, she didn't relax. She prepared for the drop, because experience had taught her that inconsistency always came before disappointment. In her world, love was unpredictable. One day warm, the next day distant, one day attentive, the next day silent. That emotional whiplash rewired her expectations. She stopped hoping for consistency and started expecting confusion. She told herself not to need too much, not to ask for clarity, and not to believe too fast. She became skilled at reading between the lines, because the lines themselves were never stable. Her survival instincts became her personality. Calm on the surface, alert underneath, always ready to adjust, always ready to leave first if she had to. But what she never realized was how deeply this rewiring shaped her sense of safety. She believed chaos was normal and stability was suspicious. When someone was inconsistent, she understood the rules. When someone disappeared, she knew how to move on. But when someone stayed, when words matched actions, and when effort did not fluctuate, she didn't feel comfort. She felt exposed. Consistency challenged everything she had learned to rely on. It threatened the armor that once kept her alive. And this is where the real tension begins. Because the woman built by struggle does not fear abandonment as much as she fears letting her guard down. Consistency doesn't just offer her love. It forces her to confront the possibility that she no longer needs to survive the way she used to. And that idea is both healing and terrifying. Because if she allows consistency to stay, it might undo the very defenses that once saved her. The first encounter with consistency. When words match actions, she does not notice him because of charm or confidence or the way he speaks. She notices him because he stays, he says what he means, and then he does it again the next day and the day after that. There is no dramatic entrance, no emotional pressure, no rush to impress, just presence, steady and unchanging. And that is what makes her uncomfortable. Because she is used to intensity that fades, not consistency that holds. He does not promise more than he can give. He does not disappear. When things become quiet, he checks in, not to control, but to connect. When he says he will call, he calls. When he says he will be there, he shows up, not once, not twice, but consistently. And that repetition starts to pull at something in her chest that she thought was long asleep. She watches closely, waiting for the shift, the drop, the moment when effort turns into excuse. But it does not come. The tension builds, not because he is unpredictable, but because he is not. Every small action carries weight. A good morning message that arrives every morning. A follow-up that does not need reminding. A calm response instead of emotional games. These moments seem small, but they begin to stack. And with each one, her defenses tighten instead of loosen. Because this kind of reliability feels foreign, it feels like a test she does not know how to pass. She does not fall for him, she studies him, she looks for cracks, she asks herself what the cost will be when this changes, because in her experience, everything changes, and yet the consistency remains quiet, unannounced, and wavering, and that is what makes it dangerous, because it does not demand her trust. It earns it slowly, without asking permission. She feels herself reacting in ways she cannot control. Her guard does not drop, but it wavers. Her expectations begin to shift against her will. She catches herself relaxing for half a second before pulling back. The unfamiliar calm triggers suspicion instead of comfort. Because chaos taught her how to survive, but stability asks her to risk something she has protected for too long. Consistency does not sweep her off her feet. It unsettles her. It challenges the narrative she built to survive. It asks her to believe that effort can be real and that presence can be intentional. And as much as she wants to lean in, she holds herself still. Because when words match actions, it does not feel romantic at first. It feels like standing on solid ground after years of learning how to float. And she is not sure she remembers how to stand yet. Psychological shift: how safety changes attraction. Safety does something unexpected to attraction. It changes the way desire forms. It slows it down, deepens it, and makes it harder to ignore. When a woman encounters reliability, her nervous system reacts before her heart does. The constant alertness she once carried begins to soften. Her body stops bracing for impact. Her mind stops scanning for warning signs. And in that quiet, something new starts to grow. Not excitement, not chaos, but a steady pull that feels unfamiliar and strangely powerful. Emotionally, consistency creates a sense of being held without being trapped. There is no guessing, no decoding, no emotional math to solve. Trust begins to form, not because she decides to trust, but because her body starts to relax in his presence. And that relaxation becomes addictive, because peace feels rare when you have lived in emotional uncertainty for too long. She finds herself thinking about him not because of intensity, but because of the calm he brings. And that calm starts to feel like home. But fear does not disappear quietly. It fights back. Desire pulls her forward, while fear pulls her inward. She questions why she feels drawn to something that feels so different from what she knows. She wonders if boredom is disguising itself as safety or if safety is disguising itself as boredom. She tests the consistency, sometimes unconsciously pulling away just to see if he stays. And when he does, the tension inside her tightens even more. This is the inner conflict where attraction becomes complicated. Her mind warns her not to fall. Her body responds anyway. She feels closer without trying, and that scares her because closeness once came with loss. Safety exposes how tired she is of surviving and how much she wants to rest. And that realization makes her want to run before she becomes too attached. The suspense lives in the space between wanting and resisting. She does not know which part of her to listen to, the part shaped by fear or the part responding to peace. Trust begins to feel dangerous, not because of what he might do, but because of what she might lose if it ends. Consistency does not seduce her with excitement, it pulls her in with stability. And that kind of attraction is harder to escape because it feels earned. In this shift, she is no longer chasing affection. She is responding to it. And that response changes everything. Because once safety enters attraction, it does not just change who she wants. It changes who she becomes when she allows herself to want at all.
The truth why consistency is the most romantic thing. The truth arrives quietly, not with fireworks or dramatic declarations, but with clarity, and once it settles, it changes everything. Consistency is the most romantic thing because it does what passion alone never can. It stays, it proves, it repeats. Safety until the nervous system finally believes it. Psychologically, consistency rewires attachment. It teaches the brain that connection does not have to come with chaos. When someone shows up the same way again and again, without disappearing, without punishment, without conditions, the body begins to relax. Cortisol drops. The fight or flight response softens. Trust stops being a risk and starts becoming a pattern. This is how wounds heal, not through intensity, but through presence. Passion can ignite attraction, but consistency sustains it. Women do not fall deeper because of grand gestures. They fall deeper because of reliability. Because someone is there when it is inconvenient, when it is quiet, when it is ordinary. That presence restores self-worth without saying a word. It communicates, "I choose you," repeatedly, not just when it feels good. Consistency tells her she is not too much, not too emotional, not asking for too much. It corrects the lies. Inconsistency, planted long ago. The belief that love must be earned through endurance. The belief that attention must be chased. The belief that abandonment is inevitable. Each consistent act challenges those beliefs gently but relentlessly. This is why consistency feels intimate. It sees her over time. It holds her through moods, silence, doubt and fear. It does not rush her healing. It does not demand trust. It allows it to grow naturally, and that safety becomes magnetic. Women fall deeper for presence because presence affirms value. Passion can be mistaken for desire, but presence signals commitment. When someone stays emotionally available even when nothing exciting is happening, it tells her she matters beyond novelty, beyond excitement, beyond performance. Consistency also restores choice. She no longer has to prove herself or brace for impact. She can soften without fear. She can want without anxiety. She can attach without losing herself. That freedom deepens attraction more than intensity ever could. This is the emotional lock, the realization that love is not about being swept away, but about being held steadily. That romance is not chaos disguised as chemistry, but calm disguised as loyalty. Consistency does not overwhelm. It anchors. It allows her to show up fully, because she is no longer busy protecting herself, and in that space, something powerful happens. Love becomes safe, desire becomes sustainable, and self-worth returns home. This is why consistency is rare. This is why it feels dangerous. And this is why, when a woman recognizes it, she does not just fall in love, she finally rests. If you felt this, it was meant for you. If you felt this, if your chest tightened, if your mind wandered back to moments you thought you had buried, if your heart recognized the rhythm of a story that feels all too familiar, it was meant for you. This isn't just a tale about love or romance. It's about survival. It's about the ways our hearts protect themselves, the walls we build, and the quiet surrender we give only when it feels safe enough to breathe. Maybe you've been there too, standing at the edge of trust, wondering if showing up fully will end in heartbreak. Maybe you've been tested silently, wondered if consistency exists in a world full of fleeting attention. Maybe you've built your defenses so carefully that even the gentlest presence feels like a threat, and if that resonates with you, then you're not alone. I want you to pause here, breathe, and reflect. What did you recognize in yourself as you listened? Which walls are still standing, and which have already begun to soften? Share your thoughts below. Tell your story. It matters. Your experience, your struggles, your quiet victories, they deserve to be heard. And know this isn't the end. There are more stories to come, more psychological truths to unravel, more emotional threads to pull that might just mirror your own journey. Keep coming back, because the next story might dig even deeper, might whisper truths you didn't know you were ready to hear. And finally, carry this haunting line with you: the heart remembers what the mind tries to forget, and the soul never lies about what it truly needs. Even when silence falls, even when shadows linger, the echoes of understanding and recognition remain long after the story ends. If you felt it, it was meant for you, and it's only the beginning. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe for more video and hit the like button.